Hi guys, welcome to Kristen on the Rise. I'm Kristen. Happy Monday. Today's Monday. I know I promised you guys a video over the weekend and I'm so sorry over that. It's been raining like crazy over here and it's really not safe to walk through the cemeteries when it's been raining like that. I mean, it's been storming pretty bad. I'm sorry for the background noise. There is traffic. I'm going to give you guys the outside tour that I do as a docent, giving you guys a little bit of the history of the town that I grew up in, and also on David Humphrey. This is the David Humphrey's house behind me. David Humphrey fought right behind George Washington in the American Revolution. So we're gonna get started. Okay, as we're walking down the street, I'm gonna tell you a little bit. I tried to do that's not one of the houses. Okay. I tried to do a video for the cemetery, the Episcopalian Cemetery. A lot of the videos got deleted on my phone and I wasn't able to post them. Plus, so a lot of the clips of the videos at the Episcopalian Cemetery had this like huge, loud buzzing noise in a lot of my videos, and let me tell you, I didn't hear that buzzing noise at all throughout the entire time I was recording there. It almost sounded like a bug was following me around, but it sounded like it was like right up to the mic. And like I said, I didn't notice it, and trust me, I don't like bugs. You would have heard me comment on it, so I don't know what that is. And last time I tried to do a tour like this, the videos got all deleted because remember my phone had broken, and last time I was standing outside that cemetery, something got thrown at me. So I don't know what happened. I thought it was one of the kids, but the kids were too busy doing something else. It wasn't them. So I want to come to that cemetery without kids, because if something's being thrown and all this stuff's happening, I don't want to take kids there. So when we're looking at a colonial house over here, we're looking at 5 things. Most of the houses over here will have them. One is a cemetery. One is the center fireplace. Another is a stone foundation. Another one is the panel windows. And the last one is the summer kitchen. Here is the Holbrook Blakesley house. You see 1712. I'm sorry for the noise again. Here's trucks coming by. As you can tell, like I said, here's the cemetery. You know, the windows on top of the windows. The center fireplace in the middle. The panel windows. The stone foundation, and over here we think, because there is a stone foundation over here where all these plants are kind of overgrown, we believe that that was a summer kitchen. So that's usually what we're looking for. This was actually known as a mansion in the 18th century. So this is considered a mansion, so that means these people had money and they donated. You see these 3 houses, so mile away from the road. These 3 houses weren't here before, and all this land was donated to the Episcopalian Church for the cemetery in their church. Okay guys, here's another house. This is John Stokes' house, 1778. This house is the first house in Ansonia to have piped water. It's got a natural spring behind it. This is also cool because James Stokes was married to Caroline Phelps. Caroline Phelps is the daughter of the founder of Ansonia, Anson Phelps, and that's where they came up with the name Ansonia. Caroline Phelps is also the founder of the Ansonia Library, which we'll stop there sometime soon so you guys can see that because it's pretty old. There's another historical house. I'm just showing you the backside of it right now. This is another house. I just wanted to show you the summer kitchen. This is one of the summer kitchens that's actually intact. Guys, this is Abel Gunn's house. I showed you guys behind the house. The roofing of that is called a salt box house. This house faces the south. The reason this house is facing the south, because they were actually pretty smart. The reason it faces the south is because of the sun rising and the sun setting at certain angles of the house. So the light will be in the part of the house that they want lit throughout the day. And I showed you behind the house, which is the salt box. We call that a salt box roof because it looks like the salt box that they had in the 18th century. Okay guys, this is one of my favorite houses here in Ansonia. It doesn't really look like an 18th century home, but it is an 18th century home right here. It's 1793. This is Captain Bartholomew's house. The story with Captain Bartholomew is he was a captain, you know, like a big ship in Pirates of the Caribbean. He was coming home, and in Stratford there was a drawbridge that used to go up and down, and I guess he told them to up the bridge, and I don't know if they told him no. I don't know if they were going too slow, but whatever, he ended up telling his men to load those cannons, and boom, he shot down that entire bridge. And it's funny because he really didn't get in any trouble for it either, because I mean, come on, somebody's crazy enough to shoot down a bridge. Yeah, they didn't really bother him after that. Okay guys, I'm just going to tell you a little bit of history about this area. Right here where this house is, used to be one of the first jails. It's obviously, it's not there anymore, and this house was built in its place, but it was. Down there where all those cars are is actually a river, the Naugatuck River. Actually, you can get here to England, actually. This river used to be huge. Right now you can't even really fit a canoe in it, but the big ships used to come over here. This was a seaport, so ships did stop over here. Hold her carriage, please. And this river does go out to the Housatonic River, and that goes out to the Sound, Long Island Sound, and after that you go right to the Atlantic Ocean and you're on your way to England, which is pretty cool. Also down there where Stop and Shop is, used to be, hold on, let me face the camera and I'll tell you guys, there's too much traffic. Just one pause, sorry about that. At that where Stop and Shop is, used to be a farm by Edward Wooster. He actually came over here from Milford, and he saw 2 oxen carts in one day, and he said, you know what, that's too much traffic, and he moved here to the valley, to Darby, because that's what this was known as. Not Ansonia, was known as Darby. And he was granted an acre to be a farmer, and he grew something called hops. And I know most of you adults probably know what that is, but that's what's used in beer. And believe it or not, children back then drank this beer. It wasn't as alcoholic as an adult, but in England, the water was very polluted. So when they came here, they believed that the water was also polluted, so they used to add hops to it so that they were able to drink it. Another thing, the Indians here were very, very friendly. So they taught the colonists how to grow crops together to get better quality out of it and things like that. It was something called the Three Sisters. And it used to be corn. The stalk would grow up, and then they planted beans, so the vines would twirl up it, and at the bottom they would plant pumpkins or squash, and that used to keep away the weeds and the bugs and stuff like that and keep it moist. Walking, I will tell you guys a little bit more history. I'm sorry about my breath. I'm like so out of shape, and I'm like walking and I'm out of breath, so I apologize for that. So here, you guys know that all of our soldiers fought in the American Revolution. David Humphrey fought right alongside George Washington. And so, believe it or not, it was split. The Loyalists, who were loyal to England. There was the Patriots, who obviously were loyal here. And then there was a third of them that just didn't care. They were with whoever would win. They didn't care. So that's pretty good for a third supporters, and they won the American Revolution. David Humphreys actually accepted England's flag when they surrendered. So that's pretty cool. So we're walking up to the Episcopalian Cemetery. I'm not going to go in it because, like I said, things have happened. So let's see if anything does happen here. But we'll see. Guys, here's the David Humphreys house. This is where I work. Here's their summer kitchen. So some history about the summer kitchen right there. It was actually the Episcopalian church where Reverend Mansfield is the one that used to be minister there. He was one of the longest running ministers in the 18th century, 72 years, and he died in his 90s, which is pretty good for an 18th century person. He's buried over here where this cross is. And this is actually where the church used to be. And it was actually Reverend Mansfield's daughter, Anna's idea. She married Elijah Humphreys, who is David's brother. And it was her idea to move the church, because what they did is they ended up building a bigger church somewhere else, so they didn't need that church anymore. So it was her idea to recycle it basically and to move it across the street and use it as the Humphreys summer kitchen. So in the wintertime they ended up dragging it across the street, and that became the David Humphreys summer kitchen. I'm not gonna go into the cemetery right now. This is the one I was telling you guys about things just like happening. Tomlinson, these are some famous names that are over here. I did find out that these little stones that I was telling you guys about that had like initials on them, see these little ones that are just sticking up out of the ground here. Sorry guys, it's kind of not the best camera person right now. These little ones, they are kids. I did confirm that. Here we go, Old Town Burying Ground, 1740s. Not as old as the Uptown Burial Ground that we did my first video in. There is some, and it is some new ones too, like on the way back there on that side is kind of a lot of new ones. Here's some more. See these little ones? I did confirm that they are kids in case you guys just missed that. Almost, babe. Here's a Bartholomew, wife of Benjamin Hodge. It's funny because when you notice some of these characters, keep walking guys, if you see some of these names on the gravestones, they are street names here in the valley.
Mom, what are those stones, Mom?
Rest in peace, guys. Please don't throw nothing at me. I keep trying to find my character. I portray a lady called Elizabeth Bassett Hawkins. I need to come into these cemeteries alone and actually look at every single gravestone, but sometimes it's impossible because some of these gravestones, they're actually really, really hard to read. They're really faded and stuff like that. So we're going to end up saying this is it. If you guys see anything, comment below. Scan the whole one real quick. Guys, I love talking about this house. It's a 19th century home. It's not an 18th century home, so it's not really on our tour, but I like to tell the kids about it only because it's got the Widow's Walk.
Let me see.
And usually at any seaport, you guys notice that, usually the wife of the sailor or whoever was at sea would stand up there because they didn't have any telephones or anything, so they didn't know. They only knew an estimate of what time they were possibly coming home. So whether or not their husband died or son or whoever died, they have no idea unless somebody wrote them or no. So they would go up there and see if the ship was coming or to look out for them when they came back. So I always thought that was pretty cool. Okay guys, this is Captain Joseph Riggs' house. We have a joke with the children because as you can see, the house was built in 1760 and our program takes place, it's a day in 1762. And we joke with the kids, oh, how old is this house? And they'll actually sit there and try to count how many years it is from 1760 to today. And I'm like laughing at them because no, it's only 2 years old. They'll be like, oh yeah, that's why. So Captain Riggs was a captain. He wasn't a sea captain, he was a captain of our militia. So if you were between the ages of 16 and 60, you were expected to serve in our military. You didn't have a choice unless you had some sort of a physician's note. That is when you were able to be excused from war, and that was pretty hard to come by because a physician, there's usually only one, and the one that lived over here actually was a revolutionary surgeon, so he was away, and a lot of the times he traveled between Waterbury and New Haven, and you know, there wasn't cars, so it took a pretty long time to travel between all those areas. So if you got sick or you got hurt, it was usually your mother who took care of you, grandmother, somebody took care of you, somebody in the neighborhood. Actually, in that house I just showed you, Captain Riggs' house, the owner came out one time and said that in the basement he actually has it set up like an 18th century tavern. I've never seen it. I don't really want to go into a stranger's, house, but it's pretty cool to know that they're trying to keep up history. This is another house. This was actually in 1789. We include this on our tour only because this was a tavern in the 18th century. This is where travelers came and stayed when they were traveling. Usually the men and boys would stay here. The boys' jobs would take their horses and stuff out back and feed them and water them. And when you came here, you ate what was served. It wasn't a restaurant. You couldn't order whatever you wanted. You ordered what was served. So if it was fish head stew, that's what you ate. The first arriver would be given this key. And I mean, the key is like the size of my arm. It's not some, simple hotel key. You were given this key to the bed because there were rope beds in the 18th century. So if you were given the key when you went to bed, you woke up, there would probably be 4 or 5 other men in bed with you because this was a tavern. This is where travelers stayed, and the weight would bring, the rope would expand. So the key was meant to tighten up the ropes of the bed. So yep, that's about it for this house. Oh, you can also rent a pipe here, and actually they're saying the wooden part of the pipe that they used to rent out, it came apart, and actually at the bottom of the Naugatuck River, there's a ton of them down there. They used to throw them into the river. Guys, I'm walking back to my car now. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. There is Academy Hill that I did not show you guys. It's on the Derby side of the tour, and I don't really want to walk all the way down that way. There's a lot of cars and traffic, and it's starting to get kind of dark. Academy Hill is where David Humphrey's father was minister of a church that was over there, the Congregational Church. Also, there was a schoolhouse over there. So one of those days we'll take a trip down there and I will explain about children's roles in the church and in the schools and stuff like that. So that's about it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and the history of the town that I grew up in. Remember, let's make history, not get lost into it. Like, share this video. Hope you guys have a fantastic day.